Hello Ipswich and welcome to the 2024 School Committee Candidates Forum. My name is Brian Grasso and I'm the production manager here at ICAM. I'm currently sitting in for Beth Meyer, our executive director, who is unfortunately unable to be here due to illness. Today we'll be hearing from two of our school committee candidates, Haley Rist and Kate Elliott. The third candidate is not in attendance today. Each candidate was asked to prepare an opening statement and closing statement related to why they are running for school committee. They were also asked to prepare brief answers to two questions, and these questions were given to our candidates prior to attending today. Haley Rist, who will make her opening statement.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you, Brian and ICAM, for inviting me to be here today, and to Kate for showing up to participate in this discussion. My name is Haley Rist, and I'm excited to be running for the Ipswich School Committee. Throughout my adult life, my commitment to education and community engagement has been a constant. After earning a Master's of Arts in Teaching Elementary Education, I provided visual art instruction across a wide range of age groups, from toddlers through high school students. I later worked for a nonprofit providing bereavement services for children, teens, and families, where I honed my skills in program development and community outreach. I've also worked as an academic coach at Endicott College, providing guidance to students related to support with goal setting, time management, communication, and advocacy skills. All of this experience has provided valuable insights into meeting the needs of students at different developmental stages with varying needs of support. I've been an Ipswich resident since 2015 and currently head up operations for a small local research firm. I have two children attending the Doyon School, a kindergartner and a second grader, and have volunteered in many school-related activities, participating in the Fries Committee, specifically with the Spooky Walk and Teacher Appreciation Celebrations, and also this year with the School Site Council. I also co-chaired the Doyon School Playground Committee to build a new playground, which was largely completed last spring and was finalized in the fall. I was inspired by the support we received from the community throughout that project, and the experience instilled in me a sense of pride in our town and a desire to become more involved. So I look forward to hearing the questions today and providing you with a clear understanding of my perspective.
Awesome, thank you for being here. And now we'll go over to our other candidate, Kate Elliott.
Thank you. So again, thank you to Brian and to ICAM for having us here today. I think it's a great opportunity to hear from the candidates and where we stand on certain issues. So I'm currently a school committee member, so I'm running for re-election. A little bit about me: I've been a resident of Ipswich since 2002. I'm married and I have two children currently in the high school. My in-laws also live in town, so we have a long history in Ipswich. And I've also worked at EBSCO for the past 15 years. In terms of my experience, I volunteered in the schools a lot when my children were little, sort of in the classroom, and I was involved in a lot of sustainability efforts in the schools. I was on the school council for a few years at Winthrop. I was on the Payne Grant Committee for a couple of years, and then in 2020 I decided to run for school committee. I didn't get elected, but I was appointed at the next opening. So in January 2021 I was appointed to the committee, and then I ran in the spring for a full term. So for the past 3.5 years I've been on the committee. I've been working hard for Ipswich students and families. On the school committee, I've been involved in budget, in policy, in communications, and most recently in the contract negotiations process. So, and I've also been the school committee chair for the past 1.5 years, so I have a lot of experience on the committee. So I believe that my dedication to the town and my volunteer work and my time on the school committee speaks for itself, and I would really appreciate the opportunity to be given another term to continue my role for the next 3 years.
All right, so now that we have our introductions in order, we're going to jump right into the questions. So our first question that we're going to ask both of you is, describe your ideal new or updated elementary school facility scenario. How would this be an educational advantage for Ipswich students as well as a benefit to the town? So Haley, we'll start off with you first.
If we're accepted into the next round of MSBA funding, it'll be a really exciting opportunity for the town to improve our school systems. So I think it's going to be necessary for us to engage in this process in a less divisive manner than we've been in, and focus on achieving a positive outcome for Ipswich as a whole. Central to that is recognizing the interconnectedness of education and town viability. Improving our schools not only enhances educational outcomes, it's also a necessary investment in the long-term vitality of our town. So I think, to name a few benefits, certainly academic gains for students, effort, attendance, positive feelings of self-worth and esteem, attracting and retaining good staff and teachers, attracting new families to the community are all are key benefits that would be outcomes for us. Envisioning an ideal scenario is easy. I think inspiring creativity, curiosity, and a love of learning in the spaces that we create, and spaces that foster accessible collaborative learning, are energy efficient, where we can focus on upgrades needed for safety and security measures, and understanding the implications of those updates in terms of current town infrastructure. So do we need upgrades to fiber optic cables in order to support those types of systems? And then designs that support and promote small classroom ratios and encourage personal relationships to happen within schools so that administrators and teachers and staff know the students and the students feel seen in their learning environments.
All right, now we'll go to Kate.
All right, thank you. So I believe that a combined school at the Joyon site is the best path forward for Ipswich. It's not perfect. I don't think anything is perfect, and all solutions will require compromise and significant change from what we have now. The new school needs to be designed with a small school feel, so with neighborhoods or pods of students similar to what we have at the middle school, high school, so that students can feel connected and seen and known. We heard that loud and clear with the listening sessions, and that is going to be an essential part of any building project that we undertake, is making students feel part of a smaller community. So to do that, a building could be designed sort of with, potentially an upper school and a lower school with shared facilities in the middle. And the upper school and the lower school could have separate entrances, separate parking lots, which I think would sort of maintain that small school feeling, which is clearly important to people. In terms of educational advantages for students, a combined school would provide equity for all students, which is really important to me. It would increase the flexibility for grouping students together, because all students would be under one roof, as well as having all teachers under one roof for planning purposes. But it would still allow for small class sizes that we currently have, and a very similar educational experience to what they're getting now, which I think is excellent. Except it would be in a lighter, brighter, safer, energy efficient building that was flexible for future use. In terms of benefits to the town, I think it's pretty clear that a single combined school is by far the fastest, most efficient, most cost-effective solution. A new building could be completed in 5 to 7 years after we get invited in by the MSBA, and construction is only getting more expensive, and I feel really strongly that we need to get this done for our students. We can build a combined school without sacrificing the education or the experience for our students. And if I have, nope, I don't have time. I'm done. Thank you.
All right, awesome. So now we're going to get into our second question. What is your main reason for running for school committee?
So I think from a sort of personal perspective on it, at a young age, my parents modeled for me the importance of civic engagement, and whether that's showing up to local town races with water and orange slices, or participating in school bake sales. They were always involved. My mom was also a teacher, so I'd go to her school all the time and help with classroom setup or help with grading, and setting up bulletin boards. So I just loved being part of the bustle of a busy school community. I loved it then, and I love it now. So, having kids in the school system and having the opportunity to be an integral part of their school experience is really fun. And by doing that, I hope to model for them what my parents did for me in terms of just how important it is to be active and engaged in your community. I think from a broader community perspective, I believe in the importance of quality public education. So having the opportunity to contribute to how we shape our schools is really exciting to me, to be able to influence the fiscal health of our budget and determine where taxpayer money is being spent. I'm a doer, so I like to, try to help identify where there are needs for improvement and implement effectual change where I can. And we're already doing a lot of things well. So I think just supporting initiatives and programming that are in place to help them continue to flourish and to strengthen our existing areas of achievement. Communication and safety are specific areas of interest for me. And certainly helping to set the direction for the new elementary schools is something that I would love to be able to participate in.
Well, good. So I'll pass the question on to you.
Okay, thank you. So this one's easy for me because I'm already a member of the school committee. So essentially, I want to just continue what I've started and what I've been working on. I still have energy to give back to the community. I've enjoyed being on the committee. I feel like there are a lot of projects underway, like the elementary building project, like contract negotiations, and there's just still things I want to do. The other thing is I've learned so much over the last 3.5 years being on the committee that to end now seems like, I've learned so much, I've built relationships, and to stop now feels like it would just sort of be like throwing that knowledge away. So I just kind of want to continue to put all that knowledge I've gained and those relationships I've built to use and to continue what I've been doing. So that's why I want to continue on for another term.
So now we'll jump into our last question. With the ever-rising costs of supplies, utilities, and cost of living, how would you anticipate keeping the school budget balanced?
This is a bit of a textbook response, I think. But I think it's because we're doing this well already. So I'll just kind of explain what we've been doing from my understanding and why I think it's working. So with the constraints of Prop 2.5 in Massachusetts, tax increases are limited to 2.5% each year. And considering that typical annual growth for cost of living can be anywhere between 3% and 5%, we have to create solutions to close that gap. So the current process of utilizing overrides, I think, has been effective in doing that for us. So in 2015, the town voted to approve a $2.9 million override, which provided a framework for managing budgetary demands and addressing essential needs within our school system. By consolidating the budgetary requests into a single large override, rather than relying on smaller piecemeal overrides for individual departmental needs, we can streamline the process and ensure that resources are allocated efficiently and effectively. So this approach minimizes administrative burden, and it engenders trust and confidence among stakeholders in the community, including FinCom and the Select Board, who can then rely on the school committee and the committed funding to meet our educational objectives and do so in a specified time frame. I think committing to stretching these override funds for lengthier periods demonstrates prudent financial stewardship. This consistency fosters stability, allowing for long-term planning and investment in our schools without the uncertainty of annual budget fluctuations. I'm committed to continuing this collaborative, transparent approach to budget management, prioritizing the needs of our students while ensuring fiscal sustainability for our community.
Okay. So now I'll pass that question on to you.
Thank you. So I have a lot of experience in budget. I've been on the budget subcommittee for 3 years, and I'm currently the chair of the budget subcommittee. So balancing the budget is really challenging, especially since we don't control all of our costs. We don't have control over all of our costs. So things like the state sets out of district tuition, if we need to outplace students, things like transportation costs. increases in healthcare premiums and utilities and other things. So trying to balance a budget when a lot of the costs are out of your control is really is challenging and limits what you can do. So in my experience, it comes down to asking questions and good communication. So through the budget process, we work with the administrators, through the superintendent and the finance director, on really trying to figure out what the administrators, the principals' needs are versus what their wants are, and most importantly, what their priorities are. So they understand the struggle of balancing the budget, so we really work closely with them to figure out what affects students the most, and try to find areas that that are in our control that maybe can be streamlined or cut if needed without significantly impacting education. So the budget process starts in November and goes through town meeting. So it's a long process, and it's a very collaborative process with the administrators. And the other piece of that is working with the town boards, like the finance committee and the select board, on things like long-term planning and trying to figure out how the school budget fits in with the town budget and sort of the big picture of long-term planning. So looking out ahead with those boards to make sure that we know of any fiscal cliffs that might be coming up, that we've seen on the news that other towns have been faced with quite substantially. So I think Ipswich has a pretty good handle on that for ourselves because of how things are run and the good relationships we have, and planning between the town boards. So it's challenging, but again, I have experience in this area from the past few years. So I think we're well poised to continue to balance the budget every year. We just sort of have to start from scratch every year and work and do the best we can to provide a balanced budget while still meeting the needs of the student.
Alrighty, so at the end of the forum, each candidate will be given 2 minutes for a closing statement. So since we started with Haley at the beginning, we're going to start with you, Kate.
Thank you. I feel that we need someone on the school committee with direct experience on the board for continuity and to keep momentum on the issues that we've been facing. 5 of the current school committee members have served less than 2 years on the board, and it takes that long to get up to speed, at least that long to get up to speed on all of the issues that we face. So I have the leadership experience, the communication skills, and the relationships, and so I ask for your support to continue serving on the Ipswich School Committee for the next 3 years. And since I have another minute, I'm going to speak a little bit more about the school building project. So I would love to see Ipswich citizens get excited about the possibilities of a project instead of dwelling on the obstacles. We have such an opportunity before us if we can come together and support a project. So we have the opportunity for 2 things. So one is a new, safe, energy efficient, flexible building built for all elementary students in the next 5 to 7 years in an area of town that abuts a beautiful state park in the woods where kids can play and explore nature and the beauty of Ipswich. And the second thing is the second opportunity is a 6.8 acre parcel of land right downtown, which is the Winthrop property, which I think should stay under the school committee purview. That could be reimagined for the future. It could be a future renovation project that houses extended day program and birth to 3, plus a community center, all while keeping the green space for a playground, a park, a bus stop, a dog park, community gardens. I mean, the options are endless. So I would love to see people get excited about that. 6.8 acres of green space downtown is an amazing opportunity for Ipswich, and no one's talking about that. Everyone's just talking about all the bad things. So I think we need to come together as a community and support a project and focus and get energized about the possibilities.
Okay, now we'll go over to Haley for her closing statement.
Well said. Thank you. So as we know, the school committee plays a critical role in determining the policy that will improve the education for all of our children. We're fortunate to live in a community where education is highly valued. So being part of decision-making about how to allocate our resources is something I'm eager to contribute to. If elected, I will ask in-depth questions about policy and programs so that we as a community understand the value that they will bring to the classroom. I will encourage proposal of new initiatives to improve the education of our children and to support existing programs that are working. I will listen to and reflect the concerns of our community and work collaboratively with fellow committee members to improve our schools. I believe that coming together as a community to celebrate achievements and to tackle shortcomings, we can continue to build a school system that truly serves the needs of all learners. I'm excited to have the opportunity to contribute to this important work and to help shape the future of education in Ipswich. Thank you for considering me for this vital role.
Hello Ipswich, my name is Brian Grasso. I am the production manager here at ICAM, and today we're going to be meeting with our third and final candidate for the school committee, Karen Lafarge. How are you?
Well, Brian, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to come in and speak, and since I was unable to make it last week, should I just go into it?
Yeah, if you want to provide us an opening statement.
Sure. My name is Karen Lafarge, and I'm running for the Ipswich School Committee. I'm a stay-at-home mom with a 16-year-old daughter enrolled as a junior at the high school. I've been a resident of Ipswich for 20 years. I will soon begin working part-time as a driving school instructor, and I work part-time at Fenway Park. I've volunteered extensively for the schools and town gardens. As I campaigned last year, I often heard people say they were feeling like they weren't heard or seen. People want transparency, fiscal responsibility, and academic excellence. Everyone should have a voice to be heard, and I want to help them do so. If elected, I will work diligently to ensure that the schools are transparent and offer consistent opportunities for parents, teachers, and school committee members to meet and express their concerns. A great school system is a collaboration between parents and teachers and should have a balance of individualism and teamwork. Often we must compromise to work together, and the best thing we can do is lead by example. Our past differences have brought us to a point where we must look past our interest and work together to achieve a common goal. Our elementary schools are in a desperate need of immediate attention, and I will strive to move forward with this issue. Part of a school committee member's responsibility is to do due diligence and look into all options available within the confines of the budget for the benefit of the schools and community. Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you for being here again, Karen. So now let's get into the questions. So our first question that we wanted to ask is, describe your ideal new or updated elementary school facility scenario. How would this be an educational advantage for Ipswich students as well as benefit to the town?
The statement of interest submitted by the Superintendent Blake to the Massachusetts School Building Association was worded in a way that would allow for the possibility of 1 or 2 schools. And it's great to have these options. If we were given an invitation to the process, my first choice would be for 2 schools because of the smaller classroom ratio, where each student can get more exposure to the teacher and less travel time to school. I would explore every option available to build the best elementary schools. But if thorough research shows that 1 school is the better choice, 1 school at the Doyon location, I believe, would be the best option. The location, land available, and traffic flow would best be at this site. I agree with Ms. Elliott that upper grade and lower grade school buildings with separate combined facilities in the middle would make the best use of this resource.
Alrighty. So now we'll get into our second question that we're going to ask you is, what is your main reason for running for school committee?
I want to be on the school committee because I love this town and I love this community. And I want to do my best and give my best to make a difference. I feel I am fair, open-minded, and industrious. I will work hard for the schools in our town. My commitment to my campaigns and perseverance to fight for what I believe in, I think, is proof of my character. My work experience as a former daycare teacher and driving school instructor gives me insight to the teaching position. Being a former member of the Board of Trustees and a landlord gives me experience with financial budget and working through variables and fluctuations to achieve a goal for the common good. And finally, my strong belief in giving back to the community shows commitment and desire to be an asset for good.
And then our last question that we're going to ask you, that we ask all our candidates, is with the ever-rising costs of supplies, utilities, and cost of living, how would you anticipate keeping the school budget balanced?
The school committee is the steward of the budgets of each school and has a fiscal responsibility to all taxpayers. I'm concerned as a mother and taxpayer that 62% of the town budget is for schools, and the fiscal year 24 budget is 5% more than last year. In addition to that, the schools have money available through various grants. In the past, I supported some proposals and overrides, and I did not support the ones that weren't in the best interest of the town and taxpayer. As a former construction worker, I strongly advocate for vocational learning. I did not support the Whittier vote because of miscommunication, lack of oversight, and a flawed proposal bound by an unfortunate agreement.
All right, well, thank you for answering the questions.
Thank you.
So now, with each of our candidates, we like to have them give a closing statement. So if you would like to provide viewers at home.
Thank you, appreciate that. A school system is the cornerstone of a thriving community and an asset that attracts new residents and families and benefits residents and taxpayers alike. Our school should be a place where healthy debate is encouraged and everyone and anyone can speak their minds and stand up for what they believe in. As parents, we instill our morals and beliefs in our children as we work with academic professionals to create a challenging and strong learning environment. We are paving the road for leaders of tomorrow and should lead by example today. As adults, we know life can sometimes be unpredictable, unkind, and unfair. The best thing we can do for our children is to equip them with the knowledge and tools with which they can handle these adversities past their academic careers. I have extensive experience in customer service, possess strong organizational project management skills, and believe in common sense solutions. I would greatly appreciate a vote on May 21st. Thank you. And thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Karen. Make sure to vote on May 21st on Tuesday at the Ipswich YMCA. Thank you.